this semester I've not felt anxious during class. And a big factor is it determines like the professor, like if they recognize it or not, or how they interact with the students, if they care, if they don't care. And also like huge thing is like notes. If they provide us with good information, I find that I'm not anxious because I know I can do it because it's there.
Some of the strategies that I used for my stress management class were deep breathing, drinking water, finding something to focus on, and sometimes just quieting yourself and meditating.
I try to belly breathe because I do notice that for me personally, when I get anxious, I tend to start breathing into my chest. So I consciously do that.
Weirdly enough, cold water is a huge thing for me. It's almost like it calms me down, soothes me.
I have started to look at math as another language because it is. You learn the rules, you learn the exceptions to the rules, you build on what you've previously learned, and if you don't use it, you lose it.
My biggest thing I've learned was time management. Really balancing between both family and work is very important. For a while I just focused on schoolwork, but I found that I need both.
I try to outline my daily work, I schedule my time.
I found out that I had to do math every single day. If not, I would forget it.
I think it was helpful to practice every day and have like a review sheet to go over just to give me that reassurance that yes, I know what I'm going to be tested on.
If I have an afternoon, there's definitely times when I'll spend hours and hours. I have found though it's more useful for me to study for probably 1 to 2 hours than to try to study an entire chapter in an afternoon because my brain just gets overloaded.
Spending an hour for me and then taking a break and coming back to it later, working on something in between that I'm good at or that I enjoy was helpful for me.
I try to step back and listen to music, do something that I love doing, but I don't spend too much time doing it because I have to study for exams. So I come back when I feel more relaxed.
Whatever it was that I didn't understand, I would find similar problems to that and I would do them. And if I didn't understand those, then I would bring them to class.
Just knowing yourself and how you study best and knowing like, can you sit down for 3 hours at a time and work on something, or do you need to break it up?
I need a quiet environment to study in.
I work not only for math, I do my other homework for other subjects in Math Learning Center because it's not too quiet, it's not too loud.
I usually studied on my own, but sometimes there were other people to study with.
When I study for the test, I try to avoid last-minute studying.
Start early, perhaps a few weeks before, and take a day in between. The reason being is because you need the information to sort of sink in.
While taking a test for math, it actually starts when I first wake up, knowing that I have the test. I have to like self-talk, self-soothe. I have to take a step back and realize that, yes, I am going to get anxious, but do whatever I can so I'm not anxious. I'll start my day like if it was normal, but I'll go through the motions like knowing that I'm going to be anxious. So, for example, if I'm in class, immediately look at the professor so they can like give me a look like, you're fine, it's just a test. Or drink lots of water before I go to class so I feel hydrated. There's like just little things to do that can totally change a test.
I think the most toxic environment for any student, but particularly students who have anxiety, is sitting outside of the classroom before a test. So what I would do is I would still come to class, 10 minutes before class started just so that I felt ready with all of my stuff and I didn't feel like I was rushing to class, but I'd put my headphones on and listen to music and just not engage in all of that and kind of take a step back.
It was simple things such as just taking your time and making sure that you're doing the problem correctly and reading it right.
During the test, it's really helpful for me to just look at one question at a time, spend, as much time on it as it takes me to solve the problem, and if I can't figure out the solution, just going on to the next problem and remembering that it's just one question.
Utilize your professors. I can't say it enough, because if they see that you're coming and they see that you're willing, they really do want to help you.
They're here for your success, and so never be afraid to ask for that help. Asking for help is the first step in helping you to overcome that anxiety and to really push through that barrier so that you can learn.
Join a study group. There are tutors that are available in the Learning Center.
I was able to sit down with someone and ask my questions using my math lab, which is a pretty widespread program here used in a lot of math courses.
When there's nothing else I have to do after my math class, I go to a learning center, get right on my math lab, because for me it's a lot easier when it's still fresh in my head to be able to work through the problems. And then to study for tests, I will go back and rework through those problems. And fortunately, the way my teacher has it set up is that you can keep doing problems in those problem sets till you get them right. And so because of that, I just keep trying and trying and trying until I get it.
I use the library. They have study rooms. So that was always a plus to be able to go up there and use the blackboard.
So now I tell myself, I say, no, you are not bad at math. You're good at math. You can do this. And that has been helpful to just stop that constant negative idea of just, oh, I'm terrible at math. Like, I've just stopped telling myself that.
The advice that I would give to math students, just like any other student, is to not give up. I'm using math every day.
As of right now, I am actually tutoring biostatistics and epidemiology, something I never would have imagined I'd be able to do.
It's always there, it's always a part of you, but like I've definitely learned how to manage it so much better. And I know that, like, you know, especially when I first started my career, I would always second guess myself and like triple, quadruple check everything. And now, like, I still double check myself, but like I'm more confident.
I'd be lying if I said I completely got over math anxiety, but I can tell you that I have come such a far way. Like, 2 years ago, I would be running out of the classroom, whereas this semester I have not run out of the classroom. But it definitely is a work in progress. I have good and bad days, and I think that's part of anxiety.